What's up, Mixed Nutters? It's your boy Marcus here, and today we covering the top 10 government officials that admitted aliens exist. Starting at number 10, we got John Podesta. This dude is a very peculiar guy, but let's just dig into his whole thing. Now, he's been working toward uncovering the truth about UFOs and aliens for years, and he's only had a small amount of headway, but he's made some progress in certain files being declassified. He hasn't got the government to release a lot of damning evidence, but he still holds on to hope and still think he's gonna make it happen. Now, John Podesta got a lot of hope, man. I mean, if you think about it, for years, working in administrations, believing in aliens, knowing that there's evidence out there, and still trying to push it out to the public, even though you know the government can't be trusted and they are tight-lipped, baby. I give it to him, because most people in that situation is probably gonna give up after a few years, but this guy been working on this for a minute, son. Coming in at number 9 is Kucinich. He claimed to have a genuine alien experience. This guy right here up on the screen here, now these aren't just random kooks or anything too. These are guys that's actually in the government we're talking about. So it does lend a certain amount of credence, even though I still don't trust the government. Never trust the government. So let's take a look at his story here. Now Dennis, he's a congressman, and he's known for being very outspoken and quite different from his colleagues. Of course, because he's trying to get the truth out. But he's considered to be extremely liberal on some things, but also libertarian leaning on others. They call him the liberal version of Ron Paul. He's also considered somewhat loony by many people because he holds the belief that he was mentally contacted by aliens. So this guy's from Ohio, and he used to live near an Air Force base. He saw a strange UFO as it flew over, and he claimed he felt a mental connection to it. In all likelihood, it was probably an experimental aircraft. So, I mean, that's probably why they see him as a loon. I don't know about the mental connection thing, but who knows? Aliens, I prefer not to know, to be honest with you. That would freak me the hell out, but it may be. But it's a lot of UFO enthusiasts that took him at his word. There was like UFOs like the Buzz military bases. I don't know what they basing this off of, but yeah, the UFO enthusiast was like, oh yeah, they like to buzz those bases, so clearly that makes sense. And how do you become an expert on something don't nobody know nothing about? Because that's the business, man. I mean, you're the official dude that makes all the rules on something nobody can prove or knows anything about. And you get paid to go on like random Discovery Channel TV shows. Like, get that money while making up shit. Coming in at number 8, we got Kennedy, John F. So many people think that Kennedy was killed because he planned to tell the public about the aliens. So let's take a look at Kennedy here. He was, historically he was a pretty good dude. I don't even know him personally, but you know what I'm saying. And, many people are convinced that he was simply killed by a lone communist sympathizer, and many are also convinced it was done by agents within the government, while some people imagine it was done because he wished to break up the banks or something similar. But alien theorists have a different idea. The theorists claim that Kennedy demanded information on aliens and Area 51, expressing a desire just a few days before he died to work together more with Russians on the space program. They call this evidence that Kennedy was going to gain information and spill to the public, and the CIA killed him because they could not risk the knowledge contained in Area 51 being divulged. Unfortunately for the theorists, the supposed letters Kennedy sent were almost certainly a forgery. Coming in at number 7, we got a Russian parliament member. He said he's seen UFOs and implies the government knows about them. This guy is named Kirsan, something Russian for the last name. I can't pronounce this at all. I mean, this shit looks like the Matrix, bro. It's just like, it's like all the letters of the alphabet. So y'all just gonna have to work with me there. I cannot pronounce his name for nothing. I think it's Kieran. I don't know. This guy, he is a former president of the Russian Republic of Klemkia and current president of the World Chess Organization. He's a rather strange figure who openly claims that he was abducted by aliens and they were very similar to people. Like Dennis Kucinich, he claims that the being contacted within him mentally, that the beings contacted within him mentally while he was aboard their craft. One Russian official suggested that he is claiming that he was abducted by aliens may make him unfit to govern. However, as if suggesting if it were a real possibility, the official concluded on an equally important issues, aliens may have been able to take state secrets from him. During an abduction and a meeting with the aliens would be historic were it to happen. So here's what's crazy about this dude. Dude's a chess champ, high position in government. He's not a crazy person. Not a rando off the street. It's not like he's like living on a bridge saying, I got abducted by aliens and taken above a craft. It's like, why aren't we? The government's clearly brushing this under the carpet because when a guy at this position says, yo, I got taken, and everybody just be like, oh, he crazy. It takes a lot of fortitude and mental acuity to make it to that level of government and be a chess champion. This is not an idiot, so we should be just totally discounting him. I'm not saying I necessarily believe him, but dude, let's look into what he's saying at least. Even if it's not an alien, somebody kidnapped this dude. And he's a government official, they could get secrets. And at number 6, Dwight D. Eisenhower. Now, Dwight D. Eisenhower knew and almost revealed all. Now, one of the most important theories about the alleged alien-obsessed Eisenhower claims that Eisenhower either secretly met with aliens or telepathically connected with them. He used these connections to set up alliances, knowing full well all of the government alien research programs he was involved in, and in some of them. The other conspiracy claims that alien secrets were being kept from Eisenhower, so he threatened to invade Area 51, knowing they couldn't stand up to the current president and the war hero. They backed down and allowed his experts to tour the facility. They saw alien spacecrafts and the remains of the one that crashed at Roswell. If this were true, one could speculate a deeper warning behind this speech about the military-industrial complex. That's a famous speech, y'all. Y'all need to check that out. Again, military-industrial complex by Eisenhower. Check out that speech. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but it seems like there's a lot of underlying stuff that he's trying to tell you without directly telling you. You know what I mean? The Roswell thing was sketchy at best. And I'm talking about on both sides, like the government side and how they presented it to the public. It was like made for you to come up with a theory and a conspiracy. Coming in at number 5, we got the Russian Prime Minister. Now, his joke is taken as a serious admission. Like during the interview, he made a joke, probably a bad joke, because you can't, when you're at a certain level of power, if you make a joke like this, people think you're trying to tell them something. So don't do that. There's a time to joke and there's a time not to joke. And if you do joke, you better make sure everybody knows you joking. Laugh, say that's just ridiculous, say it's not true, but he just kept going. So you can watch the interview online. Medvedev, Russian Prime Minister Medvedev, I ain't say that right either, proved that Western media doesn't understand Slavic humor very well. He said in an interview that he received secret folders with information on aliens, and he claimed that they live among us. Knowing what they look like would cause panic, and he can control them at any time. It's clear that if the Russian Prime Minister didn't know anything, he was just messing with people. Claiming that he can control them at any time brought the entire thing into a realm of complete fancy. And it was already strange to begin with. Alright, this dude, why would you joke about that, man? Especially when you know how shady and the government can be. The government's done a terrible job covering up certain things. They're like, well, that that was a tornado. You like, really, dude? Now, it may not have been an alien, but it wasn't a tornado. You know what I'm saying? They give terrible excuses. Coming in at number 4, we got former astronaut Edgar Mitchell. Now, I mean, he's obsessed with alien life and cover-ups, sure, but the dude was an astronaut, so we can't just be like, you're an idiot, you're a crackpot. Like, no, man, you gotta be highly intelligent and in top physical condition and mental condition to be an astronaut. So this guy is not exactly, it's not right off time. So let's take a look at his story. Now, Edgar Mitchell, he's a former astronaut who's become obsessed with the UFOs and regularly attends conventions. He doesn't claim to have ever seen aliens in person, but he is certain that they exist and originally became an astronaut because of his deception. He hailed from the town of Roswell, New Mexico, and was affected by the buzz surrounding the crash. He claims the citizens of the town were told by the government to let it go, and when he tried with his clout as an astronaut to get some information on the issue, he didn't get far. Supposedly, he managed to get confirmation that an alien spacecraft had crashed in Roswell, and then further inquiries were shut down. So, that's crazy. So the dude grew up in Roswell from a young age, seeing this the whole time, knowing that it was true. He had the dudes in the black suits from the government, like the G-Man or whatever, showing up, and they just said, hey, yo, let that go. Like, we ain't giving you no more excuses or backstories. Let it go. Never happened. Bye. And he managed to make it up there, and he said they admitted that they recovered a spacecraft and shut down the rest of his inquiries. That is crazy. That one incident inspired this man to become an astronaut. Coming in at number 3, we got us a retired Air Force captain, Robert Salas. Again, these are all credible people, man. So you gotta think about this. This alien thing driving me nuts, because sometimes I'm like, bullshit. And then sometimes I'm like, maybe. A former Air Force captain named Robert Salas worked in ICBMs in Montana, claims some very strange experiences. He alleges that the UFOs were common and would mess up their nukes, so the Air Force had to go back and reactivate them manually. On one occasion, all of the missiles were jammed for several minutes, and some of the other missile bases around the world have reported similar things. He also claims that his men once nearly approached a strange triangular craft and once saw a UFO that looked like it was spewing some kind of molten metal, according to Captain Salas. His superiors didn't dismiss or mock his story, but instead either told him it was a top secret or it didn't happen. Now, I gotta tell y'all something. Captain Salas said, 100% accurate. I was in the military. When something confidential or top secret happened, they make sure you understand that it did not happen. The general public doesn't really know what goes on. So when they show these wars and stuff going on overseas, they're presenting you with an image that's been highly doctored and been made to have you believe something that's probably not even happening like that. Coming in at number 2, this is my favorite. This is when the US government admitted they recovered alien spacecraft and bodies. Here's a little clip of the newspaper or whatever. So, it happened in Roswell, and it's the original major UFO incident in the United States. Not the first one ever, but the first one to get major coverage and wedge itself firmly into the public's imagination. To this day, the issue has not been put to rest in many people's mind. The newspaper the next morning claimed that a flying metal disc had crashed, only to quickly publish a retraction at the request of the Air Force. The Air Force produced the wreckage that could have been from a weather balloon, and then became the official story. However, the toothpaste was already out of the tube, so you ain't putting that shit back in. Look, you telling me the military shows up to a spot, right? And you got generals involved at this point because there's an unknown craft. You telling me an organization that has high attention to detail has their general show up and he mistakes a crashed weather balloon for an alien spacecraft and alien bodies? Come on, son. That is not true. Now maybe, just maybe, it wasn't aliens, but it wasn't no goddamn weather balloon, I could tell you that much. So this one was outrageous, and it should be scrutinized because that explanation was not true at all. This is back in the day. So like, you know, at the time, the government wasn't used to doing a lot of cover-ups like this, and they weren't as good at lying yet. Their ability to lie better and cover up stuff really came from that whole alien craze, and they really learned how to manipulate the public's vision of things. Coming in at number 1 is the British government. Now they fought to keep these UFO files hidden for some reason. Now let's take a look at this. This is the Ministry of Defense here. Now a couple years back, the Ministry of Defense of Great Britain finally released the files they had on UFOs, and people viewed them with a collective shrug, because after they took a look at the files, it really wasn't that deep. I mean, some people think that these weren't the real files, but I gotta be honest, I mean, the files that they show that after 50 years of monitoring and searching, the government had failed to garner anything useful whatsoever. At the time, the British government had a UFO hotline, but that was actually shut down because it was producing no results. Now, these files they released were highly redacted, you know that, because anything that might be national security was taken out of that. So literally, they just released nothing to the public. But before, they didn't even want to list anything that might give you a clue about what's happening. So it was pretty much just a waste of time and money, these people fighting to have that released, because you basically trying to legally get the government to do something when they have so many loopholes to not do what you ask for. So that's gonna be hard. Because there's people willing to die to keep them secrets, so they ain't being released. Alright, Mixed Nutters. Now, with this whole alien talk thing, man, let me tell you something. I believe that there might be some aliens out there. If you are out there, aliens, and you see this video, do not contact me, because I don't want to know for sure that you're out there, all right? I will catch you on the flip side, all right? Because I don't want to meet you, bro. Stay back. Also, look, if you want to see a freaky movie, man, check out Fire in the Sky. Now, this movie right here, oh man, this movie is so damn deep, son. Like, you just gotta watch it, man. It's like probably the most realistic alien movie there is. You know, don't get me wrong, I like Aliens and Predator and all that. These are great movies, cool ass movies. But Fire in the Sky, oh my goodness. This dude's whole story is nuts. I mean, the story, this Fire in the Sky right here, it takes place in 1975. It's the Travis Walton story. And man, I'm not gonna give anything away from the movie at all. The movie came out in 1993, so I ain't gonna try to spoil it for you or nothing, but it's been out for like mad long. But you know, needless to say, he get abducted by aliens, but you just gotta see the way it's done and the way they tell the story of this dude. And I'm telling you right now, man, look, if aliens are real, I mean, when they release that to the public or when we find out, people are definitely gonna freak out. I mean, remember when they said, oh, Corona's on the loose, everybody bought toilet paper for some reason. Toilet paper will never save your life. Check that. Check it. Write it down. Alright, Mixed Nutters, that's it for me today. If you want to support the channel, go to buymeacoffee.com/mixednuts. Remember to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. We got new videos coming every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And I'm gonna make like a baby and head out. And until next time,